Hello dear chess friends, and welcome to the preview about the first chapter, the Miscellaneous Variations. Now, this is also some kind of the introduction for the whole series or for whole video that will be in basically 10 chapters, but with first 9 that are also in the book, and the last one where I will try to show you a couple of my own games played in some lines that are in this book, in which I will show you how I play these games, how I think in those games, and what I think is very important to know and to learn from them. Now, here in the first chapter about the miscellaneous variations, I speak as in the book after the moves e4, c5, where basically white has a choice. Here I didn't try even to get some kind of the variations that start with the second move h3 or a3, because we all know that those kind of the moves are even worse than the miscellaneous variations that white can try here. Now, when we speak about the miscellaneous variations, I think that we need to speak about basically 3 different ways of play for white. First of all, the very important setup that white can try and which is in the book and of course in the video is the second move f4. So basically this is the move where white try to get very solid principle set up, but it's not such a good idea because of one obvious reason. And this is that with the move f4, white don't fight for the central squares, mainly for the square d5, which is, I think, here the most important square. And because of that, I think that after the move f4, if black start using very direct way of play, black can get even some kind of initiative. I show you in the book and in the video how to play against this move f4 with the move d5. Now, why d5? Why I think that d5 is such an important move? Because I think that mainly after d5, black strike in the center immediately. So here white doesn't have time to make some kind of the positions, because after the moves like e5 here, for instance, I try to explain you how we think in this position. So basically we think about something like this. After, let's say, the move a6 here, we will get some kind of the position from the advanced French where black is fine. And basically white can just try to play for a slight edge here. After, for instance, the moves like knight f3, knight c6 and c3, for instance, and I don't know, knight g7 and maybe d4, so knight g6, knight f5, doesn't really important. And if you look at this picture, you will see that white has slightly more space, but black managed to hold on the position, and basically white can be only slightly better. Now, if we try to compare with this position, which is perfectly normal and I think even very solid for black, the position that we get on a table after the only third move from white, you can easily see that the bishop, which is very bad piece in the setup with the French, because after the e6 this bishop cannot go out. Here you can very easily see that this bishop will came out very soon. So, and here of course instead of e6, black can try to use the move bishop g4, and then we mainly can reach very similar position but with incredible difference. So this bishop isn't on c8 but on g4. That makes incredible sense, and I think that if they're in the French, black should be okay. Then here obviously black should be even slightly better. And then in positional battle, I think that black has many different ways of play, and of course I show you how you should play and where I think that black can fight for the initiative or for even the edge, which is not obviously something very frequently that you can use with black, because mainly white try to squeeze. So, and of course after the d5, the most, I think, principal way of plays is ed5, where I think that after knight f6 black has incredible position. Here in the positions I show you that mainly black tried to sacrifice a pawn in order to reach incredible position. So main lines start after something like this, and then after c4 a6, and after bishop takes on d7, bishop d7, you can see that white has a pawn, but black has better development for now. And after a few moves like here and exchange on e6 and d3, you can see that bishop d6, black has incredible initiative for a sacrificed pawn, and not to mention that this pawn can be later very weak by just making few of very nice developing moves. So this is the way I think that black should play after the f4, and I think that black will manage to get incredible position. So I play in the practice a lot of the games, not in the tournament of course, because I don't really play many games. I try to play every single time when I get a chance, and I get incredible score in the blitz and rapids games, because I really think that black is incredibly good in these lines, and I think that white should avoid it at any cost. Then if we go back, second thing that is also very important in this kind of the miscellaneous variations happens after the both moves, which I think are very similar, d3 and of course g3. Both of those moves can be even looked from the equal view, because I think that mainly we can transpose from one position to the other. But also I think that in some kind of the variations white can try to improve, start to use better move order or something similar, but the idea is approximately I think the same. So basically after something like g3, knight c6, bishop g2 and the move knight f6, white can try many different ways. For instance, he can try here c3, he can try here d3, he can try here knight g2 e2. So basically he has a few of very possible moves, but none of them I think has here the best potential for making some kind of advantage for white. For instance, I show you how to play against the move d3, which is I think very natural way of play, especially at the club level, because the club level players just like to play, let's say, very equal or very not positions with the advantage, but a very equal positions where they can just make some kind of position and then start to use something from the position later on. But here I think that is very important for black to know that you can even fight for the advantage. This is something that white doesn't count when he starts to play like this, because white obviously try to get equal position. You cannot here making any kind of the advantage if black doesn't allow you, because e4, g3, d3 are not the moves that will bring white the advantage. My way in a chess is very aggressive way, especially if I see that my opponent is let's say very solid, but the moves that he make are somehow passive, like here. So d3, g3, bishop g2 with the combination of e4 pawn doesn't make a lot of the sense. So it's something that white, just as I mentioned, use in order not to get into problems in the opening. But if he, or can he try to get some kind of the advantage? I don't think so. So my philosophy here is just try to get as much from the position as you can, and basically why I suggest you here the move e5 is because I think that is really nice move. For instance, something like knight f3 will run into d5, and now not even to go further, because of course after the castle d4, I don't know, or something similar, doesn't really matter, but I think that d4 is also a very strong move. We will get even some kind of the reverse position from the King's Indian, where okay, white is tempo up, but the position should be approximately equal because of the slightly more space in the center and the fact that black isn't castled yet. White needs to find the right way how to play in the position, and I think that basically black is here at least equal. And in those kind of the position, if you can, you always, I think, should go for more than the equality. And basically this is my philosophy, not only in this kind of the opening, but in any other. I like to play very sharp lines. I like to create as much potential as I can, just in order not to allow the opponent passive move. So basically, if the opponent fight for the advantage, then okay, you should be precise, you should play, but it's also something that is related with the opponent. If the opponent play very passive, like here, try just to get some kind of the position, don't allow him that. So just try and push him as much as you can in order even maybe to get a slight edge. Because slight edge with the black pieces after only 6 or 7 moves are incredible, because you mainly play with the white pieces. If you manage to get the edge in 6 moves, I think that you make incredible progress in this game, and you can try to hope to play for a win. So I think that those moves G3 and D3 that are somehow related one with the other or connected, or even they can be slightly different, but I don't think that white should get any kind of the advantage. Maybe even black can hope to start fight for the advantage. And then something that I think that is very important, and the chapter which is, in my view, the best for white if we try to compare all of the miscellaneous lines, is the move b3. So b3 is the second move from white, which I think is the best one, and you should be very precise against this move from white, because this move has very positional background. So basically after the e4, white doesn't try to fianchetto the light square bishop on g2 and hit the pawn on e4, but he tried to fianchetto the dark square bishop and place him on this incredible long dark diagonal. So it's more sound than the fianchetto of the light square bishop. Now here also white has very solid positional idea. So he has the idea of putting the bishop on b5. Of course, I also show you how to play against the moves like knight f3, which is, I think, not enough for white, or queen e2, which is somehow nice move, but also doesn't have enough potential for white, and I think that black is incredible shape. But the bishop b5 is really the white idea, because what white wants to do is after knight g7, which is the key move from the black idea, because you don't want to destruct your position of the pawns on the queen side, and then after knight f3 a6 exchange on c6, we get a position where I think that black has enough play for slightly more active pieces from white, because okay, mainly white tried to get this kind of the position. So he exchanged the light square bishop. Now he managed to get all of the pawns on the light square, create some kind of the pawn chain on the light squares, and then has incredibly strong bishop on the dark square. So you can see here how nice positional idea white get, and we need to speak here about very equal position. In my view, it's very equal position, but white has here one slight problem, which is not enough maybe to get some kind of the advantage for black, even though because of something else I think that black can just try to play for more. The fact is why I think that even black can hope for more, because, you know, those pawns and this setup from white are very solid. There is no need to explain something else, because I think they are very solid. But they doesn't have some kind of the momentum. So white doesn't have a chance to start advancing with the pawns, because what he can reach? Only the dark squares. And if white at some point just play e5, d4, c3, he will make some progress with the pawns, but then this bishop will be weak. And then those pawns will not be on the light squares, but on the dark squares. And because of that, white idea is just to trying to improve the position of the pieces on somehow light squares. So you see knight d2, knight c4, queen e2, rook e1, rook d1, and then in the long run trying to create something. I think that the position is about equal, of course, but because of the fact that black has two bishops, and the game will sooner or later getting open it in the center or maybe on wings, and then both of the bishops, I think, will make incredible progress. So I think that even though white has incredibly solid position, black is the side with the momentum, and black can try to hope to get some kind of the edge by just putting the pawns in the center, because with the two bishops, with both colors, you can try to make the position in the center and of course on the wings with a very simple and strong idea, but just moving them forward in order to get a space and trying to exchange maybe a few of the pawns in the center in order to open the game and then try to play with the bishop pair. So I think that those are the systems that I covered in this first chapter about the miscellaneous variations, and I think that they are the most playable for white if white try to make some kind of the deviation in the second move.